Thank you for joining me. I'm Eric Lundeen, one of the editors with The Fabricator and the other magazines published by FMA. We're doing a series of interviews with the contestants of Metal Shop Masters, and in this episode, we speak to Tom Patsis. If you'd like to know more about Tom and his career and the artwork that he does, you can log into his website, which is coldhardart.com.
You're not going to have any problem keeping me talking. I'm going to tell you that now. And I got sweet tea here, so you're really screwed now.
Okay, so I talked to Frank Ledbetter for a little bit, and
Okay.
he kind of fleshed out some things for me that I wasn't aware of in the art
Okay.
community. So a lot of artists, I think, start out making things to sell, and then they might get requests to make something, and then the next thing is they get a request for a commission, and it might be a private collection, and then there's also public art. So I think these are maybe the different levels of being an artist. And so I guess I'm curious to know if that's kind of how you see it. Is that kind of how the industry is? And where do you stand in this industry?
Well, I guess for me, the reason we are quite successful at being able to do this full time as an artist, and I don't have any employees, so it's just me and my wife. Everything we do is like all these race cars in the background. We're kind of more into the motorsports world. And with motorsports, there's trophies, and those are usually considered works of art. There's a lot of big companies that do them. We're obviously, I'd say a little company, but we get to do a lot of the work that I do and commission, I guess, is through companies with sponsorships for races and events and sanctioning bodies. So we do like a lot of artwork or sculptures or trophies or whatever you want to call them for like NHRA and USAC. We've done some NASCAR. And stuff like that. I've done so, and a lot of it's for race car drivers as just gifts for their car owner or their crew chief or their teams. And then sponsors want to give. For I guess what we do and how we do business is we're just doing a lot of stuff for companies. I do a lot of like replicas of race cars for people. But the last couple of years, it's just gotten more into every year is, we got, those championship trophies for USAC or trophies for Red Bull or the NRX that we got into or the SRX with Ray Evernham, Jeff Gordon's old crew chief. He put on a race series. So at least for what I do, I guess you consider I'm an artist, but, a fabricator, designer, creator, whatever. But we do a lot of stuff with just big companies. And so I guess we're very fortunate that way because they got big budgets. They want to buy not one piece. Sometimes they want to buy 35. We did something for a company that's going to have a trade show here in the next month, and they bought 35 items to give to the companies that they work with. And I go, in the end, they're buying stuff from us and letting me create stuff. So I think our business plan is a little bit different than say a normal artist. Like I have friends like Lou and Frank and Ivan. They do big artwork. Big artwork for like, say it's a centerpiece in a park. So that can't be this big. This is, you need a crane. So their business plan is probably doing something that's, 90, 100 grand, and it takes 6 months to build. I do stuff more in the, 500 to 2,000 to $5,000 a piece, but maybe I do 20 of them. And, it could be a $10,000 order, but I have to knock that out in like 2 weeks or, maybe I could. So it's like, or whatever in that area. So I like joke, I do the smaller scale stuff, but I have to do it faster because yes, I'm not dealing with 100,000, but I also not dealing with having 3 employees to help me or rent a crane or get permits. And it doesn't have to have this structural integrity, engineering involved. Mine is something that just gets set up on a shelf or is given during a race event on TV, which is good PR for us. And it's fun to get those famous race car drivers to hold it. So I feel like we just have a different, we're in a different world of the artwork stuff than maybe Frank and Lou and Ivan and Ray. We all have different, we do art and we create, but we're all in different sections. We're not really interfering with each other's business. We all love each other. It was fun to meet them all. So I think we all have different plans. So at least for me, that's where I live. I don't know a lot about some of these really intense artists that you see that create stuff that you really have to look at and stuff. So my art teacher told me back in high school that I really needed to stop doing motorsports art because if I wanted to be taken seriously in the art world, this race car stuff is not going to pan out. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to be taken seriously. And so I go, it'd be funny to go back. Hey, guess what? I'm a full-time artist and I deal with only race car stuff. All those little drawings I did that you told me to stop doing. Yeah, I don't. You need to listen to people, but you always can't take it to heart sometimes.
That's
Told you, I'm not
incredible.
going to stop talking.
Yeah, there aren't too many people who come up with what they're going to do during their life in high school.
Yeah, I think it's an advantage because I mean, think about it, your mindset is I want to get into racing. I always want to be a race car driver. That's not going to happen. I'm too old and fat now, and I don't got the $1 million sponsorship to back me. But I'm in racing, so I'm around the people that I wanted to be as a kid. If you told me, Tom, you're 10-year-old you're going to get to build trophies for all these famous race car drivers and big companies, and hey, that Canon filter you just put on your stupid Grand Am, well, guess what, you're going to do artwork for them when they sponsor a pro stock car race when you get older. I'm like, all these full circle things. And Cruz
Yeah.
Pedregon back, who was my favorite race car driver in drag racing in '92, and I got his body work on my wall because I've done artwork for him. So I go, stuff like that is full circle and is really fun to think of. And it's probably why I have black hair. Look at that. See that dark hair right there? It's a mess right now, but so my life's not too bad. It's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I did see at your website that you do solicit concepts from customers. Do you get a lot
Now,
of
what do you mean?
those?
I'm trying
I
to figure
thought there
what.
was a thing where somebody could submit an idea for a project.
Oh, yes. I guess if, say, you're an individual, you're not a company, you're not a race team or sponsor, and you're saying, hey, my grandpa used to race this car and they don't make a die cast of it, or I only have 3 photos of this car that it was a custom built car for him. We do a lot of that. Like, we get a lot
Okay.
of emails saying, I want this. It could be a sculpture. It may not be race car related. Like I'm making, so like these are jacks, race car jacks, right? So obviously
Okay.
it's just a
Yep.
racing jack for a pit crew for a NASCAR team. So I'm having to build those right now. So as you can see, these are little parts and pieces from it, and that's all just an email. Like, hey, I need these made. So we get a lot of that, a lot of our business, but the majority of it is trophies for racings. But
Okay.
I'm always fitting in a replica. I do a lot of replicas of cars. I like cars, obviously. That's my world. So we get a lot of those. So yes, I guess if you wanted a picture of your, say, Volkswagen Beetle when you were a kid, or your mom had it, I want this one with these wheels. Send me the photos of it, and I would give you a quote. And if you're cool with that, then I would create it, and that's the way it goes. So we do a lot of that too. I mean, that's a lot, but those those aren't as common as the trophies because every month there's a race being held or something. So I have to now fit. I just got a lot of work to do, I guess is the simple
Yeah.
way to say it. October 15th, 2015 is when I quit working building race cars to do this art thing. And I can tell you, I have more work than I ever thought would physically be possible. Like, you'd think, oh, pandemic, you're going to go to business. No, pandemic, I have more business than I've ever thought. And I'm trying to think of how to work every minute of the day, which is impossible because
Yeah.
people have to sleep, eat. And I have a 3-year-old little girl and a wife that you need to spend time with them. So there's a lot of reality in there that I don't incorporate into my daily chores. So it's been good. So yeah, this is just these are my good people. These are my people. So when you work in
Gotcha.
racing, you get 10,000 shirts, and
Oh,
when you're a fabricator, you want to wear everything black because it doesn't show dirt, and it's a little cool in the shop. So so I can't get
gotcha.
rid of this stuff. I can't get rid of it. My closet is 99% black clothing. Yeah. I have this little sliver of color. So I couldn't be French because they're very colorful people. They have
That's a good point.
turtlenecks. I don't have any of that stuff. I have black shirts, black pants. I look
Yeah.
goth. I don't even own a pair of white socks. There's not a single white sock. Everything is just black.
Yeah. Earlier, you'd mentioned that some people thought that your business would slow down because of the pandemic, and you said that didn't happen. Did the race schedules continue throughout the pandemic, or was that attenuated? And um, what did you do to survive through the pandemic?
Well, I think, yeah, some of the race, obviously most of the racing, like anything, was on pause. It wasn't canceled, but most of the events were paused. And most of the people, obviously you're stuck at home and you're on the computer having to do your work or whatever. So a lot of the sanctioning bodies go, well, at some point this year, we're going to still get to put our races on. We have limited crowds, but there's still race cars on the track, meaning there's still going to be trophies needed. So a lot of the work, we got to do something that really helped us out right off the bat. Soon as the whole pandemic started, Snap-on ordered they ordered 5 cars for a trade show, like one of their expos where it's like
Okay.
a gathering of all the franchise owners and stuff came by. So like, you sell this many toolkits and this many this, and you get awards and all this stuff.
Of
So
course.
their
Yeah.
event was still going to be happening. So they ordered 5 cars, which was a good chunk of money and a good chunk of work. It took me about 2 months to produce all the cars. And the fun part of all that wasn't so much the car building, but they also needed what I call like Terminator arms. So it was a Terminator, like a robotic fist holding a featured tool. So probably one of the funnest project was, here's a Snap-on catalog, order whatever you need. Don't worry about the price. Don't worry about how much you need. Make in your mind a Terminator arm made out of beautiful Snap-on tools. And then we'll order 8 times that. We will send you all this stuff. We'll pay you to build these Terminator arms, and they wind up being trophies for their expo at the end of the 2020 year. And so I love Terminator. I really do enjoy Snap-on tools,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know, when you buy the best, you're going to pay the best. So to get to weld Snap-on tools right out of the box and make Terminator hands, I was like, that it feels right and wrong at the same time, because I have a
Yeah.
whole table here, or a whole toolbox full of Snap-on tools, and I go, I know how much each socket costs. So, I mean, I get it. It's good stuff, but I got to weld it together. And I go, so that was a fun job over the pandemic, and stuff like that. And I think also, like, everybody in business, they all panicked and they go, we got to just collect as much money as we can do as much work, and just pack it in. And you don't know what's going to happen in the year. I assumed I was going to have to go drive a truck or something, at the end of the year. But I wind up working so hard and getting so much work done. And people and as the pandemic kind of lowered down a little bit and more races happened, hey, I need those trophies. I need those trophies. So people, they didn't spend their money right off the bat when they normally would buy trophies from it. It was like 3 months of just in trophy ordering insanity. So it was just, I worked really hard, and then I got even more business at the end of the year. And then this year has just been pretty open on most of the places where we get races. So it's been good. I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, I don't sleep very much, or I do sleep, but it's at a weird time of the day, or on the ground over here somewhere. So it's been actually a dream 2 years, and I work by myself. So really, I think I took a couple of days off during the craziness. But when you work for yourself, it's not like anybody's really going to tell you what to do around here. So life's been all right the past 2 years.
You might want to hire a guy so you can sleep a little bit more.
Do you think if I drank some of this sweet tea, this is sweet tea, and I said, all right, we're going to work till 3 a.m, how many people are actually going to show up for the next day work? They're going to be like, dude, I left here at 4 a.m. You want me here at 10? Be like, I kind of expect 150% out of people and myself sometimes. So I go, and I'm also having too much fun with doing what I do. It's like, it'd be like me telling you, you need to go pay someone to go eat your lunch for you. I go, that's crazy talk. I like lunch. Why would I pay someone to do it
Right.
for me? So I just deal with it. I'll sleep later.
Do you incorporate any found items into your sculptures, or is it all things that are bought or procured?
Man, that's a good question. It was like set up for me to answer. Probably when I do my junk art trophies, everything, I know you can't really see it, but I have zillions of Lowe's buckets, 5-gallon buckets full of race car parts. And I only deal with race car parts because they're really beautiful. They're machined. Most of the time, there's no rust. So we're not dealing with, a crank out of a 350 Chevy. We're talking like,
Yeah.
a crank out of a 11,000 horsepower, top fuel car that made 5 passes, and now it's considered junk. So I got a lot of IndyCar gears, NASCAR gears, shafts and bearings, and shift forks, and I mean, a lot of spark plugs, lots of spark. A top fuel car uses 16 plugs a pass, and they only use them once, and you can't recycle a spark plug, theoretically. So I have probably 5,000 to 6,000 spark plugs in my shop. So that's why there's always a spark plug ball on the top of a trophy, because I have the spark plugs to be able to make millions of these things. But when it comes to junk art style trophies, yeah, everything is race car parts. So I repurpose a lot. So theoretically, I'm saving polar bears because I'm a green company.
Awesome.
That's the way I see it. There should be grants for this. I have to look all that up. But then there's times where I take nice sheet metal, like a replica of a race car that I build. That's like a 1/12 scale. That's all made of just brand new, clean sheet metal. And some trophies are made from scratch. They're not made from any, they're real elegant looking or classy. So they don't want gears and used parts in it. It just depends on what the customer wants. But I do repurpose a lot of race car parts only, not street car stuff.
Okay. Interesting. I guess one thing we haven't asked is how long you've been at this. Did you say it was about 5 years ago that you stopped working for Don Schumacher?
I theoretically started doing the cold hard art in 2008. So then
Okay.
I would work from like 8 to 5 at Schumacher Racing building race cars, and then probably 6 to 2 in the morning doing my artwork. So theoretically I kind of had 2 full-time jobs for like 7 years. And then my wife's like, you keep falling asleep like on the floor when you pick stuff up. You really need to like kind of pick one job or the other, because you're either going to kill somebody or kill yourself. So she goes, maybe you should think it. So I said, maybe I'll just, quit Schumacher and try the art thing. And so I gave them my 6 months notice, and they were really cool with that. They also said, if you ever get tired of the art or if it does not work out, please let us be the first one to know, so I can just go back to work and build race cars that do 330 miles an hour, which is a really cool kind of a safety blanket. But I am still technically quitting that job to do this art, which again, 5 years, I've been doing it for 5 years full time. So my paychecks have only been coming to me from actually showing up to work, doing my own thing, nobody telling me what to do. It's very weird. I haven't had a boss, and you would think a person like me would need to have somebody to tell me what to do. But I do have my wife. My wife Amanda does all the adult work. She does all the answering the emails, because I'm not allowed to spell anymore. Does all the scheduling, the shipping, pays all the bills, does the taxes, all the adult work. So
The
I get to
adult
sit
work.
back, watch Netflix on my TV, weld and create stuff with very minimum drag on my mind to create. Because I mean, when it comes to artwork, if you're not in a good mood or you're stressed out, it's very hard to take something from your mind and produce something. So I'm very fortunate. I guess she's my boss. She's not an employee. She's my boss. I'm the employee, I guess. So
As long as it works.
yeah, she hasn't killed me yet. So
Um, do you do all the work in your own shop, or are there any times that you get something that's been outsourced?
the few things that are obviously for trophies or stickers and nice tags that we have to send out. I used to have to get stuff cut out, but I now have a fast cut plasma table. And I used
Okay.
to be one of those people going, I hate plasma tables. Everybody that's got one thinks he's a metal artist. All I do is copy and paste stuff off the internet and cut it out a flat pattern on the machine, and now they're an artist. But I go, I get it now. There is a benefit, like these little pieces that doesn't look very exciting, but if you have to cut this out of 1/8 inch steel this many times,
Mm.
that takes time, right? So now I use it for so these are going to be those jacks that I showed you. And so I drew that up on the computer, which I've learned how to do that. I'm not a computer person. I'm a paper and pencil drawing. If you want a sketch of something, that's how I do it. But now I got that. So I used to have to pay people to draw stuff on the computer and then get stuff cut out. And that could end up being a week, 2 weeks to get back. And when I'm going, I need that like tomorrow, I can have it tomorrow because I have the tools. So I have a nice fast cut plasma table. Other than powder coating and we're lucky across the parking lot here, we have indie paint shops. So when we have trophies that needed to get painted or coated, we have all kinds of people here. So pretty much a coating, stickers, and tags are right now about the only thing I have to outsource. But again, that's some of those things my shop's a fab shop, so there's dust in the air. Theoretically, probably don't really want to have a sticker machine here, because again, that's time that you gotta invest in these, $15,000 machines. That's more money. Plus someone's got to run it, print the stickers, dust in the air. It's not a very good environment. So there's just some things that I go, now we'll just keep paying our friends to do this work for us.
Yeah. I guess I should ask about the scope of the tools and the machines you have. Certainly, you've got a lot of hand tools and a
Yes.
welder.
Yes.
What do you have for other things? Do you have a press brake or other
Let's see.
types of machines like that?
With with knowing Bruce at Trick Tools, we
Ah,
got some good fab. Like, I don't ever plan to do. I don't put cages in cars. I do stuff that I joke if I can't do it on my table, I'm probably going to say no to it. So I have, I have a couple of welding tables. I have a stomp shear, press, or not press brake, but I got a press and just a sheet metal brake. I have 4 Miller welders. We're partnered with Miller, so we do a lot of work with them. So I have like 2 synchro waves. I got a Miller 210 MIG. I'm not the greatest MIG welder, but the machine lets me look better than I really am at my MIG welding. But so I got a lot of equipment, but it's a lot, what you'd kind of say, like smaller scale stuff. Like I don't really,
okay.
I don't really want to have this giant press brake in here and I bend like little tabs this big. I've kind of tooled myself to doing smaller stuff. Like I
Okay.
said, it's fun to tell people, oh yeah, I need a cage put in my car. Guess what? I don't do that. Oh, you could do it. No, I don't have the tools for it. So it's easy to say no to some stuff, but I like having equipment that I can move myself. Like I do have like a bridge fort back there, and it's still on a heavy duty pallet, so I can take a pallet jack and move my mill if I need to. I really like being set up to be independent as I work by myself. So even my fast cut plasma table is a 4x4, right? Because
Okay.
I usually cut everything at an 1/8 inch for what I use on the machine, but an 1/8 inch piece of steel 4x4 is just on the verge of being able to put that piece up there. So I don't need 2 people to put a 4x8 sheet on there. And again, I don't do big things, so that it takes only a certain amount of space up. It's perfect for me on size material. Like I said, it just everything here is a little small scale. I can still do pretty decent stuff with it, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and build you a frame for your 32 Ford Roadster or something, because I go, nah, I don't have the tooling for that, and I kind of like
Yeah.
it this way. It kind of keeps me in track of what I'm doing.
When you build something like the replicas or the miniatures, do you just eyeball those things? Really?
Pretty much. Yeah. There's when it comes to all my replicas, I kind of pride myself. I don't really cut anything out on a machine. There's no CAD. People ask me about, like, well, how do you scale stuff? It's like, well, with my eyeball. Like my secret, it's not really a secret, but I go, if the wheels are this big, how many wheels are in between this wheel and the last? Like
Oh,
I scale things off of other things. So like
right.
if the door is this tall, how tall is the window to the roof? And it's all just, relative to what is, how big this is to how big this needs to be. So it's honestly, I've just gotten really good at scaling stuff with my eye. I do have a scale. I mean, I do measure stuff, but it's only after my eye tells me, well, it needs to be here, here, here. And then, well, the other side needs to be the same size. So then I would use my scale to, okay, the wheelbase is 12/100. Well, the other side needs to be 12/100. So my scale is only just to mirror what I'm doing, but it's all just kind of eyeball and stuff. And every once in a while, something will be a little wrong. It could be a 1/4 inch off. Like I did a trophy for the truck series at Knoxville, and it was a replica of one of the race trucks. Well, the roof height was about a 1/4 inch too tall, and the car was done. It was all welded up and finished, and I go, well, the roof's too tall, so I had to go and section a 1/4 inch of the roof out of it. Draw a line, cut the roof off, sink it down,
Yeah.
tack it back up, make it look like I was never there. And so I'm not perfect. It's just my eyeballs telling me what to do. But there's times where I'm really good at hiding mistakes. Because remember,
Mm.
Instagram only shows you what I want you to see. So, like a good carpenter, you don't see the
Sure.
mistakes.
Yeah. Well, the guys who do the framing, they can make all the mistakes they wanted.
Yeah, you're never going to see all that stuff.
Sure. Do you have any sort of an art background?
Honestly, I really don't. My mom, I guess, okay, let me say it back. My mom actually was an artist. She was a toll painter where you take antiques and you basically refurbish them and paint like a winter scene on them and stuff. So my mom was more of an artist, a painting artist, and she was, good at drawing and painting. So I did inherit that. And my dad is kind of more of a MacGyver. He may not fix something the right way, but if you're stuck on the side of the road, oh, you're going to get home. Don't worry. So I have mechanical ability to never say never. And, with my mom being an artist, so that gives me the ability to always create and problem solve, I guess, is the best thing that kind of gave me. But honestly, art class, like I remember doing every art class. I did very, very good in it. Like I said, my art teacher told me I really should stop doing race cars and learning how to do
Yes.
like human figures and horizons and different environments and learning how to get well rounded, as he said. And told me to stop the race car stuff. So I don't know if he'd be proud of me or pissed that I didn't listen to what he said. But I go, I'm a full time artist now, and I pay for my life and my daughter and my wife and stuff. So I go, this is all I do. So I would assume he'd be proud. He was like 70 back in 1997, so I doubt he's still here. But but I never went to college for it. I didn't. I went to college for working on race cars and street cars and a little bit of welding. But honestly, my art background is pretty much just my mom, and that's about it. Wouldn't it be fascinating if the 80% of your life that you spend trying to make that 20% fun and enjoyable to have the money to do it? Wouldn't it be crazy if you could take that 80% and blend it in with that 20 and you go, all I do is what I like,
Mm-hmm.
It's not everybody gets that. It's hard to teach that. It's hard for people. Oh, I don't think I'll ever get that spot. I was like, well, you already beat yourself right there. You need to say, I could do it. I quit a dream job building race cars, which is like, I'm gonna die doing this work. And I quit that job. So I tell kids, man, there's sometimes when you get what you want to get, there's something better out there. You don't even know it yet. You just gotta go through that path, and to tell you, hey, you're gonna build 330-mile-an-hour race cars and you're gonna quit that job on your own terms and go do art. I go, you're stupid. You're an idiot. Why would I ever quit that job? Because you're gonna get to do this, this, this. And they go, oh my God, that's a job? And I'm like, well, it doesn't really exist, but you're going to make it exist. So, I tell kids, it's like, man, I'm from Maine. I'm from nowhere. No one in my family likes racing. No one in my family is a welder or anything like that. It's just self-motivated, I guess. Like, hey, I wanted to go do this. I wanted to get in racing. Not exactly where I thought, but it's not bad at all. It's not a fail. So I like telling kids, go, man, it don't matter if you're poor or rich, anything like that. You can get what you want, but it does take time. Like, I've been doing this for a long time, and it's not easy. If I work the hours that I do here for someone else, I'd probably quit or go, I'm going to need a raise because I'm here 17 hours every day easily, and I don't even think about it.
And that brings us around to the next topic of discussion.
Uh-oh.
The post-apocalyptic escape vehicle.
You said it good.
Thank you. I thought Ivan's was really unique, but when he explained it, I thought, I just don't know. And it turned out great, but then yours turned out just a whisker better.
So, obviously, it's hard in the art world. It's very hard to compare what your mind comes up with to mine. So, all I heard was the judges said I'm going to do it again, post-apocalyptic vehicle. So I thought vehicle. I'm a car guy. Clearly, we watch Mad Max. I just assumed car. So I can't obviously speak for what Ivan, how he created or what his idea was, which was massive and crazy and cool and stuff. I know he got frustrated with his helpers. And so I just wanted to build a car. Obviously I love cars. They're hanging on my wall. It's just going to happen. And so I wanted to build something that would contain you. And I think if zombies are coming at you, the last thing you want to be is exposed or on the outside of it. So, when they gave us, and that was a surprise, they didn't tell us that we were going to get helpers. Like, that was like, oh, okay. I thought, okay, we're going to build something. And then they hit us with, oh, you're going to get help too. I'm like, okay, I don't work with people that great. I'm by myself all the time. And I know Ivan's the same way. I'm like, this ought to be fun. So when they said that, I go, okay, this is what I'm going to do. What do you do? I'm a welder. What do you do? Okay, I'm good with like handling material. I'm like, yeah, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm make templates. So there's no question asked. I'm going to give you these. You're going to go over there and you're going to create. Now, if you have a question, ask me. And if I need some help or you need some help, come ask me. I'm not trying to get rid of you, but I'm just trying to keep you out of the way, because I have no clue what I'm building. Every minute is me coming up with the idea. So it's very difficult to go, you're asking me what I'm building, want to help me, but I'm coming up with it every minute I'm creating it too. So I go, it's very difficult to go, I think I'm going to do this or this or this, and then try to relay that back to you to help me. So I go, you know what? Let's eliminate that. I'm going to get you to build guns and you're over there.
Yeah.
And if they don't get done, it's not detrimental to what the overall view of what I want is, but it'd be nice and helpful if you have those guns made by the time that, I think it was like 10 or 12 hours. I don't know. Like I said, it was a year ago when we did this, but I was like, let me just keep you here. And if I need your help, I'll bring you over here. And so I created the whole car mostly by myself with templates, and it was fun to take a golf cart, which is kind of a sad looking vehicle when you take all the body work off. I knew I had
Yeah.
to take the steering wheel and lower it. So at least had a lower profile, and it kind of looked evil and sinister, and stuff. But my help, they did a really good job. And I think the problem with Ivan is I think he delegated kind of the important parts to them, not knowing what their skill level was.
Yeah.
And he gave them maybe too complex of the stuff. They're too complex of items to create that maybe he should have created, and maybe gave them less work because he's obviously the experienced one with the vision in his head. I think that's probably that downfall for that one. But I really would have loved to seen it 100% done. Like, I'm not sure what percentage of it he had done, but I would have loved to seen it with all the skin on it and it just coming, because when he was up on top of it, I go, holy crap, like, look at this insanity. Like, this is crazy. Because his mind, I mean, I think I'm crazy when I get a little, but man, the stuff that his mind comes up with is like an engineer meeting an actual artist. Like, I think he's got both those. He is so creative, and the way he makes things move, because he has to know about lengths and leverage points and pivots, and because I mean, you can't make something that does this without knowing the right ratios. And I go, man, when he made the piano thing, I just go, you know what, dude, my idea that we both discussed an idea when we worked together. I go, I don't know if mine's kind of let's do yours. Let's put the best foot forward. I know this is all going to be about kinetics and movement. Let's let you be the boss on it. I'll just create everything you want to the best of my ability, and then help you and work out. So obviously, like, I let him be the boss on that one. And he came up with that crazy, like, evil music box piano thing. And it was like, man, that's just like, I'm happy we went with his idea, because mine wouldn't even made sound as evil and creepy as his was, and stuff. And, we, again, with that was just, you're thrashing. He's trying to take a piano apart, and I go, I know he's got an idea in his mind. I'm not going to get in the way. I'm going to just make the parts, go with it. So, I mean, the whole show was cool, just because, 2 points there, you're working with another partner, and then the next round you're going against that partner. So, like, you're working with them, and then the next one you're trying to stab them in the back and send them home. And I go, that's such a crazy concept. And we really had no idea what the next challenge was each time. So it was like, yeah, I made it past this round, and I was like, man, I'm lucky. I don't know how to do that last one, but I wasn't the worst, but I wasn't the best either. So it's like, you just got to skim by sometimes. But it was I'm those people that go, metal art is not a competition, because everybody has a different vision in their mind. And how do you compare yours to mine? It's so difficult, because we all have different skill levels and different artistic abilities. And they go, well, they made it work on a TV show. And I go, I thought it turned out pretty good, not being biased or anything, but I go, man, it was fun. It was fun. I mean, I could have gone out first round, and I go, man, it was so much fun. And of course I want to go more rounds. But, I mean, it's one of those things, like, I would have been sad if I went up first round, because I wouldn't have got to experience all the other ones. But, I did make it pretty decent. So it was fun.
I think that everything you said about Ivan's skills came through in the show.
Yep.
Because he's got that great understanding of the mechanics and how things have to work together to make the motion. And the concept of the Bison as a post-apocalyptic escape vehicle, I was a little skeptical at first. But looking back, and especially with what you just said, how do you judge two things that are completely different?
Yeah. I wouldn't want that job. I mean, I know I do it with the Skills USA, but I'm not judging people to each other. I'm individually just telling you, giving you a point system for you, and that's it. But to tell someone, I'm not the one that has said, you got 100 points, you got 95 points, sorry, little sir, you got to go home. I'm not having to do that. I'm just giving the points, and I don't even know what the points are for that. But this, they have to look at you in the eyes and go, your art is good, but it's not good enough for today. I go, I couldn't do that job. So if they said, Tom, we want you to be a judge, I'd be like, what do I have to do again? Like, maybe just let me do this or that. Like, I don't know if any of us, Ivan, and that's the other thing about Ivan is he's the sweetest person in the world. Like, he's a big dude. Everybody thinks he's from Russia with a name like Ivan. He's not. He's got a beautiful voice. Like, I think he should also do poetry. I think he should read poetry and melt people's hearts, because his voice is just so
Yeah.
relaxing. I mean,
He's got a
he gave
great
me
voice for radio or
oh yeah, radio.
any
He
kind of
could be
voice
doing your
work.
job. Yeah, he's a pleasant person.
Mhm.
Everybody was. That's at the end of the show when it was all over. My two thoughts, and it sounds weird, was I was sad and I felt a little lonely, because we started with 7 people, and then it was only 2 of us. And I go, it's like you want to be there at the end with everybody. And then it was over. Then the show's over, and I was like, man, that's so much fun. It's like the last
Mhm.
day of summer camp. All right, see, you made all these friends, you got to hang out, you got all these cool
Yeah.
stories, and now go back. Now you got to go back home. Not a bad place, but it's like that's how
Yeah.
I felt. It's just like all your friends are gone, and now you're going home back to your normal life. Like, you know, weird.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
You might see him at Fabtech next year,
I
or
mean, we got
maybe.
to see him at Fabtech this year, and now I got to see Ray, Frank, Ivan, and we got to kind of like promote the show a little bit, for the American Welding Society. That was kind of fun. They got me to sign little cards. I asked
Yeah.
everybody, "Do you actually want me to sign your card, or are you just like walking by? Because I'm not going to assume that you're handing me this piece of paper after the beautiful Ray has signed it and Ivan signed it, that you automatically want my autograph." So I was like, okay, I'd ask everybody, "Do you want it?" "Oh yeah, okay," and sign it. So I'm not an autograph person, but I go, that was kind of flattering for people to hand you this, this card. And go, "I want you to sign this." I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah. Did you enjoy working with Ray?
Oh yeah, you would think her being abstract and me, Mr. Straight Edge and 50 thousandths, you would think we'd be choking each other and be like, "That's not how I do." We actually worked. I'd work with her on anything, because she's a go get it, no drama, just a workhorse,
Yeah.
and she's not crazy. She is very savvy, business savvy. She takes her business side serious. Her art is just what it is. It's going to be, I'm going to create this and you're going to like it. And she's usually spot on. I mean, everything that we worked together was like, oh man, that's awesome. Like, okay. And, sometimes when you're working with somebody, you want it done this way, and you're going, I hope and she would do it, even though she's freehand and I'm straight
Mhm.
line, man, she was like, I think we won that round. So obviously we did pretty good, but I was worried for about 2 seconds, and then we started we were like yin and yang. So it worked out really good. Now she's a good worker, and just a
Yeah.
good person.
You can kind of see that in the show. There was one point where you said, "We're kind of running low on time, and I hope she gets done with that soon." And then she just came walking over with the part she'd been working on.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
And, of course, it's a TV show, so we figured maybe that was staged, but it sure came across genuine.
And I can well, obviously firsthand being there, with money being involved in a show like that, there is no manufacturing of drama. I mean, I don't think there was any real drama in the show. I mean, we all really liked each other, but when there's money involved, they can't have their hand in anything. They can't take time from you. They can't put
Oh,
stress on you in any way. So a show like that, like, I think what what you guys saw is like obviously a condensed version of, when it's 10 hours to build something, you're obviously not going to be there for 10 hours. You're going to see an hour of it, but nothing, honestly, to the bottom of my heart, nothing is being able to create drama, because they just can't do that, because they can't compromise anything that you do or I do, or put something
okay.
in the way to make it show, because there's money involved. It's the same reason, like when you work at a gas station, you sell lottery tickets to people. You can't buy lottery tickets, or your family. You can't have anything as a conflict of interest. So I go, think about if someone said, "Oh well, Tom won, but he was given four helpers, and the other guy only got 2." I go, well, that doesn't seem fair. So, you're going to get lawyers involved and all this, and go, that's not right. So I can tell you that show had 100% of what you saw was it. There was no manufacturing of drama or any kind of tight deadlines. When it was the second that you had to stop working, it was even when you did an interview for 15 minutes during a build, everybody got a 15-minute interview. They have to
Oh,
take you do an interview, and if you do a really good job and you can get your interview done in 3 minutes, well, you still got to sit there for 12 minutes. I can't let you go back and go
yeah.
work on your project and get 12 minutes a head start on somebody. If hey, Tom did a terrible job interviewing, he took 15 minutes, well, we'll get his interview later after this is done. We'll ask him those questions. But I mean, it was taken very seriously on
I mean, it's like a race. I mean, we're not going to give you an extra lap to make it up and make drama. It's like, so, you know, a lot of people, oh, it's really a typical start. No, it really had nothing. And I mean, for me, I'm a very competitive person. So if I find out someone got 10 extra minutes that I didn't get, yeah, I'd probably go say something, because there's $50,000 in line. I mean, I want to win that just as much as anybody. So
Sure.
if we're not all following the rules, then, you know, I'm going to say something too. So, but you know, this just a straight up match between people. It was quite enjoyable.
When people are really good at what they do, they make it look easy, you know, and maybe that's good because it is easy for them because it's just robot mode. I call it robot mode, when you can take an engine apart and you can talk to your buddy and you go, how did you just take the whole motor apart without dropping a nut or bolt and doing everything? It's like, well, I've done it 1,000 times, or I've learned to do it the smartest way and stuff. And so I mean, yeah, I assume Frank does beautiful work. I'd have to assume he knows the smartest way to build something. He knows how to problem solve, going, well, this fish doesn't look like this, or this doesn't look like that. It's not, it ain't going to stress me out because I know how to, oh, there you go. This happens all the time. I figured out how to do this, you know.
That's
so,
right.
You know, Ray knows how to, you know, that girl knows how to plasma cut freehand. Dude, if I do that, I put way too much thought in it. I'm too stiff. She'd put her leg up on the table and just, and be like, man, that is, how'd you make that logo? How did you make that crest without even drawing it on there? Oh, I've done these enough. Like, you become the robot. But again, the robot only knows what the human tells it. So, you know, like it's just fun to watch people that are really good at what they do work.
Well, again, I want to thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.